That breaking news, the manhunt continues for Grant Hardin. He's a former Northwest Arkansas police chief who's been on the run now for more than a day after escaping from the North Central unit near Calico Rock in North Arkansas. He was serving sentences at the prison for murder and rape when he escaped from custody yesterday afternoon. Now, Harden believed to be wearing clothing that mimicked law enforcement during his escape. He has deep connections to our area, serving as the chief of police in Gateway, Arkansas, before he was arrested for a deadly shooting in rural Benton County, then linked to a 1997 rape case. He eventually pled guilty to both crimes. We'll have much more on Hardin's ties to our area in just a few moments. First, though, 5 News reporter Jacob Luthi is following the manhunt there in Izard County. That's where authorities say Hardin escaped from the North Central unit. Jacob, what's the latest? What are you hearing out there from search teams looking for him?
Yeah, Darren, it's now been over 24 hours since Grant Hardin escaped from that prison in Calico Rock. And I will say that we've been here in Izard County all day and we have seen a heavy police presence. But I'm told that as time goes on, the search area will need to expand.
The search continues.
Checkpoints scattered throughout Izard County Monday as law enforcement personnel look for any sign of Grant Hardin.
Department of Corrections is out there, Arkansas State Police, U.S. Marshals. We've had Fish and Game helping out, local sheriffs, local police departments. Pretty much anyone that can spare some officers.
Photos here from the Arkansas Department of Corrections shows what appears to be Hardin leaving the North Central unit in Calico Rock wearing a makeshift officer's uniform. In 2017, Hardin pleaded guilty to murdering James Appleton near Garfield. And in 2019, he pleaded guilty to the 1997 rape of a Rogers Elementary School teacher, crimes for which he received a combined 80-year sentence. Grand Champion with ADC says search efforts Monday focused mainly in the area near the prison.
We have a K-9 team that's here at this area. We have a lot of different agencies that are from this area that know it a little bit better. We're hoping that plays into our favor.
What was supposed to be a busy Memorial Day for Main Street Calico Rock instead used as a major checkpoint for police.
As far as our businesses being closed, I understand that the other businesses that are normally open were closed because of that, because of the breakout.
Lori Lane works for a local antique shop in the city and says the heavy police presence eases her mind.
It's a little disconcerting, but very rural area. I would have expected somebody would be hiding out in woods, not coming into town.
As the search continues, the Department of Corrections now looking into how Hardin was able to escape.
We've been doing a very meticulous review of all the surveillance footage inside, trying to put together a timeline, trying to even backtrack, a few days, a few weeks, just leading up to see if there's anything that could kind of give some insight into what's going on. But yeah, it's a very thorough investigation right now.
Now, Champion says that internal investigation will also be looking at policy and protocol to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. He also says that the search will continue through the night. In Calico Rock, covering news where you live, Jacob Luthi, 5 News.
All right, Jacob, thanks. With Hardin's ties to Northwest Arkansas, law enforcement here on high alert. Both of the crimes he is serving prison sentences happened in Benton County. He pled guilty to the deadly 2017 shooting of James Appleton. Got a 30-year prison term for that. Prosecutors say the motive still remains unclear. DNA taken during that murder investigation then linked Hardin to a cold case that went unsolved for 20 years. The 1997 rape of a teacher in Rogers. He eventually pled guilty to that crime as well. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer has been taking a look at Grant Hardin's background as a police officer before his arrest. Lauren joining us now from Eureka Springs, where he used to work in law enforcement. Lauren.
Yeah, Grant Hardin's roots run deep in Northwest Arkansas, from Garfield to Gateway to here in Eureka Springs. I spoke with the former chief here who says that Hardin should have never been an officer. Hardin is from Garfield and served as a police officer here in Eureka Springs until he resigned in 1996 after he was told by the then police chief, Earl Hyatt, that he would be fired for lying on a police report. The former chief says he was also an officer in Huntsville. According to Benton County records, records, Hardin served 2 terms as a constable for District 1. He also worked as a correctional officer at the Northwest Arkansas Community Corrections Center in Fayetteville. In 2016, Hardin was hired as a police chief in Gateway, a small town between Bentonville and Eureka Springs. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison for murder and 50 years for rape, convictions that brought long-awaited justice to the victims and families whose fears have now been reignited. Tonight, we're hearing from the former chief here and the former Benton County prosecutor who led the case against Hardin.
One of the things that the justice system is supposed to give them is closure, right? And when he has escaped from prison, my thought just goes to the reopening of all those wounds.
It was tragic, but not surprising. He was just always a very violent, I guess, excessive person, and had a really bad temper.
Tonight, Pea Ridge police tell us they have increased patrols out of an abundance of caution. If anyone knows anything about Hardin, any information or his whereabouts, they're urged to contact law enforcement. Live in Eureka Springs, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. Again, here's another look at a photograph shared by police of Hardin. The photo on the left is Hardin's latest prison mugshot. Photo on the right was from surveillance video taken during his escape. He is described 6 feet tall, weighs 260 pounds. He was wearing clothes designed to mimic law enforcement. It is not, though, an official law enforcement gear. You can find both of those photos and all our coverage on our free 5 News smartphone app, along with any updates on the Manhunt. Talk about the Memorial Day weekend forecast. Rainy day outside pretty much all day today, as you can tell by the Marshall's Museum camera looking across the Arkansas River into Oklahoma in the River Valley. Oh, I'm hoping this dries out soon, Joshua.
Same here. It has been a long last couple of weeks. We've had a lot of rain. This particular system was so tricky just because the models were no help. So we had all this rain, and it was hard to tell exactly when, where, and how long it would last. And you can see we have that rain still going on right now. Some areas picked up anywhere between about 1 to 6 inches. Here's a look at some of our locations across the board the last 48 hours. You can see anywhere between 1 to 3 inches were reported in the last 48 hours in terms of that rainfall. The good news is the flooding risk is going to start to decrease. That's because we're seeing that rain start to decrease as well for the next couple of days. We will have some rain chances tomorrow, but we do have a couple nice days in the forecast ahead. More details in just minutes.
All right, Joshua, thanks. The rainy weather didn't stop a Memorial Day commemoration today at the Fayetteville National Cemetery. The annual tradition features guest speakers and a wreath-laying ceremony to honor those who died in military service. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders also marked Memorial Day at Camp Robinson in North Little Rock. The base hosted a remembrance ceremony honoring our fallen service members. Governor also delivered remarks there as well. And the President and Vice President visiting Arlington National Cemetery today with the Defense Secretary. They laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier and spoke on fallen American soldiers, calling them our country's best and bravest.
In every hour of peril, in every moment of crisis, American warriors have left behind the blessings of home and family to answer their nation's call. They've offered all that they had within them and given their last breaths to each and every one of us that we might live safe and breathe free. This morning we pay tribute to their immortal deeds.
With more now on the President's visit to Arlington and a look at other Memorial Day commemorations happening across the area, here's Jared Hill at the Intrepid Museum in New York City.
President Donald Trump placed a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. He took a moment of silent reflection before addressing the nation's Gold Star families.
For the families of the fallen, you feel the absence of your heroes every day.
Nearly a quarter century since the September 11th attacks, Vice President J.D. Vance said U.S. leaders must be cautious in sending troops to war.
The very best way to honor the fallen is to only ask the next generation to make the ultimate sacrifice when they absolutely must.
Across the country, Americans marked the holiday with parades and flowers. In Kentucky, a field of poppies is a symbol of remembrance. Along New York's Hudson River, a ceremony at the Intrepid Museum, a transformed aircraft carrier, marked the sacrifice of the nation's military families. Ceremonial wreaths were placed in the river and service members unfurled a giant flag. Overhead, a salute in the symbolic missing man formation, a single aircraft splitting away.
We should always remember, my brothers and sisters who never came home. I did 3 tours. On the first one, 2 men did not come home. We got lucky the second time, and on the third one, a man died also.
Oh, say.
At Washington's Vietnam Memorial and in a parade along Constitution Avenue, tributes and salutes to those who fought for their nation and never made it home. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Back here at home, this year's Old Fort Days Rodeo officially gets underway tonight. Rainy weather this morning forced organizers to call off the annual parade down Garrison Avenue, but rodeo events already happening at K. Rogers Park. The grand entry, by the way, set for 7:30 tonight.
Very disappointed about losing our parade. It's such a well-attended and well-participated event, but the Clydesdales that we have, they'll ride in the rodeo tonight, so we gained that.
The Old Fort Days Rodeo continues through this Saturday night at inside Harper Stadium at K. Rogers Park in Fort Smith. You can find out where to buy tickets and find links to the rodeo schedule on our website at 5newsonline.com.